Hi everybody, we're Rob and Leslie Hildebrand.
Welcome to the Château de la Grifferaie.
3 years ago, we sold or mortgaged everything we had to buy this beautiful chateau.
With the hope that we could create a special place of learning for young people to learn about their world and themselves.
It's been an amazing adventure so far, with so much more to come.
So come along with us as we wake this sleeping beauty and restore her to her former glory.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Château de la Grifferaie. That's your old friend Rob. I'm by myself. Leslie has gone back to the United States. Our daughter Amy's getting married at the end of August. Very exciting. I'm gonna follow in about a week and we're gonna both be there. It's gonna be a great wedding, but she's back there getting ready. That means you're stuck with me today. Wow, huge development for the Château. We named this video, What's Next for the Château? We had a really interesting call early this week and it was my friend Pete. Now, we were friends growing up back in Saskatchewan. We lived across the street, actually, and it turns out we grew up and both of us sort of became pastors. And so he's working in a church near Seattle. And long story short, their church just sold a property and his board said that they thought it would be a really cool thing, a respectable thing, if they donated 10% of the proceeds from this land that they sold to other nonprofits. And so he called and said, hey, do you guys have any projects that we could support? And I'm like, well, that sounds good. That's awfully nice. By the way, pretty selfless of them, eh? You know, that'd be tough if it was your organization to give away like money that's just in the bank. That's pretty cool of them. So I started thinking, I'm like, well, I don't know what to say. You don't know what to ask for, right? Because you're like, do you ask for something small? Do you ask for something big? You don't want to be grabby, but you also there's a lot of things we need. And so I thought, why don't I give them a list of things and I can put it out to them and then see if any of them jump out at them that they might be interested in. Then I thought to myself, it'd be a lot easier just to go on video and shoot a video of me talking about some of these needs. And so this is what I'm gonna do. We put it on video. It's about 18 minutes and it talks about all the stuff we're thinking about doing in the next little bit. I'm gonna put that at the end of this video because my thought is if, you know, the people that have been with us for a long time and you really kind of care about what we're doing, you're probably gonna watch the whole video. So it's going to be at the end. So, you know, if you want to skip to it, you can. It's 18 minute, 19 minute, 20, somewhere around there. That's going to be fun. The video will be shot as if I'm talking directly to them because, of course, I was talking directly to them. So there you have that. Now, before that, we knock off a bunch of little jobs around the Château, little tiny jobs. And so you can enjoy those if you want to. Also had our neighbors, John and Marion, come over and he played the piano. Now you get to hear a real piano. That's going to happen right after this intro. So watch that. And maybe I'll say this too. At the end of the video, I had a couple of people in the comments request me to play some hymns. Now, guys, I know I'm not that good of a piano player. Like, I get it. We're, you know, probably Leslie's better than me. But neither of us are good enough to have like a YouTube piano channel. I get that. We're not going to put piano on all the time. Having said that, it's a lovely thing to ask for. And, you know, some people have told me that, like they play the video to go to sleep, our videos to go to sleep, or even, this is really nice. One lady said that she sometimes plays our videos for her parents who are maybe it's Alzheimer's, something to that effect. And I guess it just kind of the calm nature of our voice and there's no, you know, car chases or explosions or anything. It's easier than Netflix maybe. That kind of soothes them in the evening. So I'm going to finish off with a couple of hymns. That's going to be at the very end. If you don't want to listen, don't worry, it's not that good. But thanks for joining us and enjoy the video. In life, sometimes you go for the win-win. And isn't this nice? A lovely gift from our friends John and Marion now. I'm really excited about the honey growing at their place right close to us now. They came by because we have a ton of trees that have fallen and they, like many people in France, use wood to heat their house. So it's a win-win. They were able to get some wood and we were able to get some wood not in piles. And even better, John played the piano for a minute. Okay, now enjoy. Now here's a real player. I think you're gonna like this. You know, one of the things I love about our plan for this chateau is I love it when the students are here. I love seeing the place full of joy and singing and laughter and learning and growth. It's really incredible. And so part of me grieves when everybody leaves, partly because I like them, partly because it's just great to see the chateau so full of life. But then when everybody's gone, and after you've sort of had some time to rest, oh my goodness, it's peaceful and beautiful. And I mean, it's endless work. Like, don't, you know, we're not just sitting around enjoying the beauty, but even amidst the work, you can just stop and go, oh, I love this place. Like, for example, today, first job is gonna be watering all the plants. Leslie's gone, and so I'm on watering duty. Then I'm taking the garbages out, and then we're checking the mail, which sounds like not a big job to walk it all. And then I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna keep chainsawing stuff out. We're gonna keep clearing it out, and then I'm gonna bring the wood chipper over really carefully and try to make some chips to cover some weeds, and also get rid of all this stuff that's just sitting out here. We let it die for a little bit because the wood chipper likes it better when it's dry. Look at this tree. Look at the, see all that ivy dying since we cut it? Oh man, you love to see that. Those leaves are gonna fall off, the tree's gonna be free. We're gonna clear a few more little guys out too. Maybe some of these little guys that are bending so badly to get out. Some of them are suckers. And we have one tree that's on a significant angle. This is gonna be trouble, this one. Now it'd be easy to follow the tree. I'll show you the tree I'm talking about. It'd be real easy to chop the tree. The problem is if we chop it, it's gonna land on those rhododendrons, and we really don't want them. We're trying to protect the rhododendrons. See the angle tree there? Yeah. So try to figure out how to do it without too much damage. Might have to get a ladder up and try to do it the correct way of cutting the top pieces first and then cutting it all the way down, kind of thing. But I gotta be a little more careful than normal because Leslie's not here. So if I break an ankle or hurt myself badly, it's a little harder to get to the hospital. So you wanna be a little extra safe, or try to be a little extra safe. Now, in terms of safety, there are some jobs I really try to avoid having young people doing. Like, so for example, if there's any chemicals, you know, obviously we don't want them. They got a long life ahead of them. I mean, I'm 54, you know, maybe I got 20 years, maybe 30. And so I obviously I don't want to get hurt either, but I'd way rather have it happen to me than to one of the young guys. So when it comes to the wood chipper, that's something I mostly just do myself. Now, it's actually not that dangerous, a small one like this. The good news is the blade's right at the very bottom, and there's a safety thing about halfway through that red bin. And by the time it gets to the blade, it's maybe 8 inches, maybe less than that wide. So it's not gonna kill a guy, but you could, you know, you gotta be careful. You don't wanna lose a hand or something like that. Certainly you don't wanna stick your hand or your foot way in there. You'd have to go a long ways though to get hurt, but nonetheless, I'm not willing to let young people for the most part use that. It's just, you know, playing the odds. You can see it was a good cleaning session, but we still got lots left. You know, there's somewhat endless amounts of brush to clean, so we'll keep plugging away. Well, we pretty much got this one out without breaking anything. I don't know, it was leaning pretty hard, so I cut a series of cuts to make it kind of lean down slowly, and then I sort of took it apart one piece at a time. So I think we saved this roto right under, and then this big guy, I was really worried about him, and then a couple more over there. I think we saved them all. Now the last bit is just to cut this without having it fall on this. A little tricky, but we'll get her done. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm declaring war on these vines. Look at them. They climb up and then they go from tree to tree, weighing down stuff and making a general nuisance of themselves. It's time for war. Sorry, vines. We've had some warm days, and so the stuff I've cut down is starting to die. But here's the beauty. Look at that. You see that guy in the middle? All that ivy's dying. The one over to the left, it's already died because we cut it earlier. This one is now dying. Oh, that tree's gonna be free. Yay. One cut, everything changes. New week, and we don't have a ton of time, so we're not gonna bite off any big projects, but it's the perfect time to get some small little guys done. For example, this window, if you open it, is sometimes nice to have a little air, but There's nothing to hold it open historically, and also it kind of is right in your headspace. You bump your head on it. So, simple solution, just a little hook. You know, we'll put that in there. It's again, 5-minute job by the time you get the drill out. And now it won't bump anyone's head. It won't slam open or shut. There's a chance a bird will fly in there, but it's not a huge opening. So probably not bats, hopefully not birds. So we're gonna build a wrench. Yeah, some of these windows really have a hard time opening and they get really sticky. And so I'm just gonna use the old router and we're gonna plunge that in there. We're gonna dig it out. And then we'll use this piece of wood as a wrench, give us some leverage. I just learned something new. North American routing bits seem to be different size than European ones. I brought all these great new routing bits from America that had none of them fit, but I still have some European ones, so good news. All right, I figure we give it a try, see if it works, and if it works, we'd maybe make it a little bit pretty, cut off some edges. All right, this is our one that's stuck. I don't know why it's stuck, but we'll give it a go. We'll put this guy on it and see if we can twist it. First part's easy, then it gets hard. Oh yeah, totally worked. Anybody can do it now. Leverage. I don't know why that thing is so, I don't know what it is, but not bad that way, but it hits something here. So something's rubbing. I'll put some oil on it, maybe that'll help too. Now the difference between like a hobby kind of retirement job and owning a chateau is you can only afford so much time on each job, but we're going to, let's take a minute and see if we can make this pretty. We'll budget maybe 10 minutes. And just for the fun of it, it doesn't really make it better. Maybe a little better, but every once in a while you have to be able to enjoy your work. I've used half of my 10 minutes and getting it in a little closer into the shape I want. Let's get the jigsaw and then we'll get a sander and then a router and we'll call it a day. All right, there it is. I christened the spoon wrench. Now we can open any window. Any person can open any window. The magic of leverage. If you watch our videos, you might recall that we have the GAs, the grad assistants, sleep down in the basement, and sometimes it's a bit spooky for them. It's a little dark, and you know there's bats and stuff, and so they want to turn these lights on, but you have to walk a ways to get to them. And so finally, I found a nice little motion detecting outlet. And I'm thinking, oh, this is great. I got $10, well, more like $13. But then we can put motion detecting and just leave them on. They walk down there, they have lights. It's not so scary. Good for the kitchen too, by the way. I got 3 of them. So I'm thinking, oh, great, this is a 5-minute job. And I go up there and of course realize that the light bulbs are really wonky 2 side pin things that don't fit traditional lights. So, you know, it's a $5 job. Now it just it was a $13 5-minute job. And now I'm gonna have to probably buy a super cheap light fixture and switch that out. And I'm gonna have to go drive to get it. It's gonna be like an hour. It's gonna be another $10 per light probably. But so, you know, it's never as quick as you want, but we'll get her done and we'll get those GAs feeling safe. Made a couple fun purchases for the Château. This is like a little $4 timer, and we can plug our lights outside onto this. The fancy system's been giving us some problems, so we're just gonna go simple. Plug it in with one of these and we can have lights on for maybe just an hour a night, maybe 2. Oh man, I don't think this captures it. It's completely dark except for the outside lights, and I'm getting really cool sparkles off the chandelier. Apparently the outside light is hitting it. I don't know if you're catching it on camera. Super cool. Another small project. We've noticed lately that the front entrance, which usually has that mat on it, is dipping down. It's quite uneven and it causes people to trip. Leslie would very much like me to even it out. She just wanted me to put a board on top of it. I think probably the right move is to fish out all the broken concrete and then honestly just maybe pour a nice level thin layer of concrete on top. It all sits underneath the mat so no one sees it. It just needs to be stable. So even our little local Mr. Bricolage has, you know, a fair amount of stuff. You know, when you look around, this is the inside section. See a little drywall there and some insulation. And then what we're looking for today, concrete. I said, Avez-vous béton? And she looked at me. I said, Avez-vous béton pour la... I pointed at the ground like the concrete. She said, ah, béton. Should have seen that accent. $5. Pretty cheap fix. Okay, we got some concrete mixed up and I put in, and then I'm like, man, how do I get this flat? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, they have tools for that. So this will help. Let's see if I can fix it a little bit. All right, the trowel smoothed it out a bit. Now, again, remember, nobody's gonna see this. This is sitting under a mat, and you're wondering why that looks so scratchy, because there's hardly any that's needed. It was already high enough there, so I'm just trying to level it. So it's thicker here, and this may crack and break, we'll see, but in any case, it'll be sitting under something, so it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of cracking. Anyways, $5 fix, 2 hours by the time we get to it. Gotta move fast. All right, all done, all done. I'm locked. Forgot to unlock this door this morning. It's little things like that that cost you time. That will cost me probably 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Gotta walk around the house, find an open door. In this case, I think we'll go through the basement and back up the stairs. Good for exercise. I should keep the camera rolling just to get a sense of it, but no, it's gonna be boring video. Take 2 with the door open. I haven't vacuumed or anything. Yeah, there she is, back in place. Nice and solid, and even too. Now I do need to fix this. This was coming up, and so I just put a screw into it. I know that looks terrible. I'll take that out. I had to get it down while the concrete was coming in, so the concrete didn't seep under. So it's held down now. I will try to find some hidden nails or small screws and then screws, and then countersink them and then fill something over. So that's just temporary, but it worked for now. Well, let's get another quick job in. We have 5 bikes at the Château. We've gone to pawn shops for most of them, and over time they take a beating, and this one's handlebars were completely wonky, so I tried to fix it. But sometimes you just need the right tool, and I just needed one of these, and it was $3, and now I have it. It's a quick fix, 3-minute job. Now, we did these hedges a while ago, and it looks kind of bad, but all it is, honestly, is old branches that got stuck there. So I gotta see if I can pull some of them down here. It's gonna be a lot easier with 2 hands. So with Leslie gone, I am living the bachelor life for a little bit, and you know, honestly, I never really had a ton of that growing up. I got married at 19, and I kind of went from my mom and dad's house to being married to Leslie. So, you know, it probably would have been good for me to learn some skills, but there it is. It is what it is. I do actually kind of enjoy you know, cooking for myself and doing some of those things. And I was sitting here thinking, of course, it's easy when you don't have to face loneliness, and I still have the advantage of talking to Leslie on the phone or on the computer. So it's, you know, obviously easier. I was thinking, you know, what would happen if you're by yourself? Like someday, you know, maybe towards the end of life, Leslie dies first. Maybe I die first. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there's a chance you live some years alone. And if you do, I was trying to think, how do you manage to stay like positive? And I know I sometimes have a hard time, you know, like if you get frustrated with something and there's no one there, you just kind of stay frustrated with it. You know, you don't get over it as fast, it seems. And so I'd have to find a strategy for that. But then also just not to kind of get depressed or into yourself too much. And so I was thinking, you know, what might be a good strategy is like kind of having a calendar down and making a list of good things you could do for the world. Like one thing for the world you could do for somebody, like maybe have somebody over or do an act of kindness. Of course, I'm sure you're more tired when you get, you know, to that age, and it's more difficult to do stuff. By the way, boiling potatoes here, and we'll put those on the frying pan after and make some hash browns. And I'm making extra. This is for a couple meals here, so we'll use this for tonight for supper. We'll have a little pork chops. Right now we're gonna have some omelets. But yeah, that's my idea. Maybe if you had a list of things, like one good thing you're gonna do for the world, you know, during the week at least. I know at the Château you're always like, okay, here's my 4 things I gotta get done for the Château today. But you know, it'd be nice to retire a little bit too. Despite my best safety precautions, I somehow let a bat get into the house. So now I gotta see if he went out the window or if I can find him. I thought I had him closed off in the morning room, but I don't see him, which means he either took off or he's ripping around the house somewhere. We'll walk around and look for the bat. Is that spooky? Spooky enough for everyone? Screen's intact. Didn't come through there. Let's wrap ourselves around here. We have to go upstairs and look. Got lights on the back. They're looking cool. All right, here we go. Let's go check. Don't see him in here. Oh, I do see one out there though. There's the light. 30 watts. Here we come. Don't see a bat in here. Though it would be hard to see a bat in here. And then we'll come around this way. See if he flew out. I had the lights off, so I think that helps. Here we go, we'll turn the lights on. Well, I'm going to assume that he flew out. That or I could have a really unhappy surprise in the middle of the night. Okay, guys, here it is. Here is the video I sent to the church, and enjoy it. I think we list 7 or 8 projects that we're thinking about doing. Again, I'm talking directly to them so you can understand that when you look for context. Okay, enjoy. Hi, Pete and leaders of Madison Community Church. It's Rob Hildebrand, your almost former neighbor. Used to teach at Multnomah, coming to you from France, and where my wife Leslie and I run a study abroad program for young people. We read through the New Testament and the Old Testament and live together with 25 of us. It's been an amazing journey so far. Got a great call from Pete the other day, and he said he told me that you guys had sold a property and had decided to tithe some of the proceeds to other ministries, and I was taken back. Congratulations, thank you. That is a very kind thing you're doing to a lot of us nonprofits that don't have really a built-in support network, and so very selfless. And it was, anyways, that's awesome. And he told me that you guys were thinking about us maybe, and asking if we had any projects. And so I started thinking right away, and had a number of them, and I thought, why don't I jot them down and tell you a little bit about some of the projects, and then you can decide if any of them are something you'd be interested in supporting. So I was going to write it down, and I thought, better yet, let's put it on video. It's easier to see. So let me walk around the Château grounds a little bit and tell you about some of the things we've been thinking about and how they would impact our ministry. Thanks. It occurs to me that perhaps I should just tell you a little bit what we're doing out here in France. Leslie and I have worked with young people for 3 decades, and we've become increasingly troubled at the plight of young people in today's world, particularly in America, where the cost of education is so brutally high. And so our observation is that kids are getting married later, they're struggling with their connection to the church, and a lot of them are alone. And we wanted to try to do something that would help them all the way across. And so having led trips around the world, but also in North America, we recognize the power of youth ministry and having people live in community. And so we wanted to bring a group of young people together, currently 25 a term, and we read through the Bible together. We eat our meals together, we live, we talk, discussion flows into mealtime, and they're able to ask deep questions about Christianity, about life. Not only that, they're able to get academic credit, and we charge maybe a third or a quarter of what some of the private schools charge. So we're trying to save them some money. We're trying to give them a great experience connecting with God and with other Christians their own age. And so Leslie and I are volunteers. Our organization is 100% volunteer, and we actually loan the Château to the nonprofit for free. So it's been a great ministry. It's been life-changing, and we're really thankful for your potential support. One of our goals in the program is to try to keep the price as accessible as possible. And we've done that by keeping rates quite a bit lower than conventional schools in America, but still it's money. And so we've been thinking about trying to get some scholarships going, and a contribution to a scholarship fund would be extremely helpful. We've been thinking that could be something between $1,000. The whole program can be $4,000 for students. So, you know, any number in there would be hugely helpful to students. Another project we have coming to us in the not too distant future deals with heating. We currently have a boiler and heating oil, and it's too expensive to use. Essentially, it works. I mean, we envision this place as a 3-season building. You know, we heat it a little bit in the fall and a little bit in the spring if the students are here. But for the most part, the heat stays off. In the winter, when Leslie and I are here, we just put on lots of sweaters and blankets, and it actually, we don't heat it at all. It just stays quite cold. Doesn't freeze very often in France, so we're okay that way. But probably what we need to be doing is we need to be installing a couple of heat pumps, just the type that are very common in Europe, and they're actually quite reasonable to put in. We think we can put a heat pump in probably for about $2,000 per pump. We'll probably put 4 or 5. Each pump does 2 blowers. It's not enough to be in here in December for sure, but it is enough to make it livable in October, November when the students are here, and even March, April when sometimes we have work crews come. How we're going to approach it is we're just going to put, we're going to heat some of the rooms. So for example, these 2 rooms might get a blower, and then on the other side, and then some in the middle, and it'll take the edge off, which I think will be smart. It's not simply a matter of comfort. When these buildings get cold, they tend to mold, and they go downhill very quickly. And so, you know, it would be tremendously to our advantage to have the dehumidification and also heating capacities of these heat pumps. Yeah, we think probably about 10,000 will do us 8 to 10 heat pumps in the chateau, which will be enough. We've had a really interesting situation with electricity. There are some pros and cons. Before we bought the chateau, it was actually an amusement park, which is one of the reasons why we were able to afford it. I think rich people don't want to buy an amusement park. And as a result, there are electrical points and water points all over the property, which is great potentially down the road. It also means that we have a commercial account. Now the commercial rates are different. Our electrical bill during the Ukraine war this last year, it quadrupled. It went up to about $1,000 a month, which was tough. Electricity went up all over in Europe, but they wanted to protect the residential people, and so they put protections for them. But since we were commercial, there was no protection, and so the rate skyrocketed. And so I was kind of like, "What can we switch to residential?" And I called them, and they said, "Well, you've got so much power coming in because you've got this big building that has like a huge transformer that we own, and it's stepping the power down. And because of that, it would cost $60,000 to change that. So we're not going to do that. That's a non-starter. Plus, it gets worse. If we change that transformer, they said you'd have to bring the entire chateau up to code because it would be a new construction, considered new construction. And the chateau's 165 years old, so we don't want to rip all the walls apart with wire and stuff. So that wasn't going to happen. So I said, well, why are we using so much electricity? Because I noticed we were using about 40 or 50 or 60 kilowatt hours, which is not that much. But then I noticed that when we were here, we'd maybe be using 45, 50. But even when we shut everything off and left the chateau, it would still be burning 42 kilowatt hours a day. And so I was like, well, what's that? And they said, it's your transformer. 98% efficient, but that 2%, since it's so big, was burning almost all of our electricity, giving us those $1,000 a month bills. So what do we do? Good news, we have 2 really good solutions. We had some good friends come, and they took a look, and they discovered that there's actually a second electrical connection, the original electrical connection, and to switch that out is only a few $1,000s. Estimates maybe $2,000–3,000 to put this thing on a residential system. So that would be fantastic. That protects us against the possibility of that rate spiking again and getting $1,000 a month. Clearly, when you're spending that much a month, you're not worried about a little bit of an upgrade there. The other option, they said, a really good option for us would be solar power. Solar power can be 20 or 30,000 in the States, in Canada, but here it's pretty heavily subsidized. In fact, if you want to do something called, I think it's called self-consumption, a 3 kilowatt system, It's a small system, and if you put it on the ground, there's no permits. It can be as cheap as $3,000 or $4,000, and that will give you 30 to 50 kilowatts a day, which a lot of days is a significant percentage of what we use, even with the transformer. So they thought with our bill coming in at $1,000 a month, that was a no-brainer to put 3,000 or 4,000 into that. It gets even better. This spot right here I'm standing at, that's a significant electrical point, and this perfectly faces south, and so we don't have to put it on the chateau or mess up the aesthetic. We can put them right here. It's kind of out it would be 8 panels, and that would significantly protect us. So probably 4,000 for the solar panels, maybe another 3,000 to connect to the residential grid. That would be a huge thing for us. 6,000 to 10,000 total probably. Well, this is fun. At one time, this property was a bed and breakfast, a hotel and restaurant, and they had a tennis court. And the fence is still here, and there's still asphalt in the ground, but it's quite a long time since it's been used, and so weeds have grown through it, and it's all crumbly now. What with us having a program for young people, college students, we've thought often that it would be smart to come in and bring a cement truck and to resurface this for pickleball and for basketball. Some good, clean fun for our students. We have great young people, and they do like to get out and exercise, and this would be, I think, a really good move for them. Our estimate probably, if we did, again, we're trying to keep things reasonable, probably 5,000 to 10,000 to get the concrete in there, and then we maybe get it painted and some other materials in there. One of the reasons we bought this chateau was because it's large enough that we could take more students. We knew that we could take about 20 off the start. We've already put 2 rooms in the basement, and so we're up to 25. But with our new roof that we just got on, we now have access to a whole other floor, the 3rd floor American. In France, they would call it the deuxième étage, but you can see it right across the top there. It actually has a 12-foot ceilings. You can imagine it, and windows, but it hasn't been used for many years, and so we have to build these rooms from scratch. Okay, here we are. Welcome to the deuxième étage, the 3rd floor. We have 10 bedrooms up here, and some of them huge, majestic bedrooms like this. Like this one has a bathroom and a closet off it. And you can see 12-foot ceilings, and at one point they had a fireplace. So the floor is okay, but we have to do the walls, and the ceilings need to be redone. The electrical is non-existent, none of it's hooked up or connected. So electrical would need to be done, in plumbing. The rooms are not all in the same amount of condition. This one is actually not too bad. Ceiling is intact, though moldy from the roof changed. And so, there's a considerable amount of work to be done. Working in Europe, sometimes it's a little different. It's not drywall, and so some of the plaster and lathe work is a little beyond us, so we might need to hire somebody. We believe we could get a room up and running for about 10,000, including, the new electrical panels and all of that. Of course, we'd eventually need to get some of these bathrooms working again. That would be probably about the same amount. Bathrooms, they're pretty well situated because the plumbing is right below, straight down, and some of them have existing pipes already. They're not all big rooms. There's some cozy little guys like this. You could easily still put 2 or even 3 students in here. Probably 2, but not nearly as much work needed in this room. But this one's definitely one of the ones on our short list because, again, we may turn away, we may have 100 applications this year from students. And it's really difficult to say no to students. And we could afford to put 25 students up here per term. It's effectively doubling our numbers. So if we got some of these rooms going, maybe we put the boys up here. That, I think, could be a good thing for the kingdom. We've had an amazing year, to be honest. And at the start of the year, we actually had an old friend who donated this van to us to 2023. A Renault Traffic, and that has been a lifesaver because, of course, we drive young people all around all the time. So right now we use this van. We rent another. Probably in the near future we should look at getting a car for the ministry too, because when we're in session, the cooks go to the restaurant. They're cooking for 25 people every day, 3 meals a day. They go to the grocery store, not the restaurant. at least once a day, and then we make a bakery run. And it's wonderful to have the van, but you also need a little car to run these little jaunts. As well, we have 25 students, so we can put 9 people in this, 9 in the rental, and then we need another 5, 7. So a small vehicle is probably in our future. That would be extremely helpful. We think we could probably get a not very old secondhand car, or even a new very small car for maybe 15 to 20,000 euro, probably in that ballpark. One of the projects that we think is coming in the not too distant future is the purchase of a small tractor. We have quite a bit of land here and a lot of trees, and I started off with really small tools, but it's a huge project, and so we've been looking at getting probably a smaller tractor, maybe something in the 30 horsepower range. The guys on my board tell me they think it's going to be 25,000 probably is what we're going to need for that. A lot of things that will help us with the roads, the lanes, the square, the weeds, keeping those down, some of the mowing in the bigger areas, using it to clear out brush in some of the treed areas. It's a big property, and that would be something that would be really helpful to us. Out at the front of our property, we have an old barn / stables. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful building, but tragically, the roof is falling in. And that has to be one of the projects we hit sooner than later. As you walk closer, you can see what I'm talking about. We're at the point where we have beams starting to fall down, and so we need to get it covered with a tarp. You can see some of the material already starting to fall. Now, when they built this one, usually they do pretty good in Europe, but for some reason, they always do slate. For some reason, they decided to put asphalt shingles on particle board. And so it is not doing well at all. We've had estimates, and we've talked to some people, and they say that most of the wood is good, actually. Some of it will need to be replaced, but generally the wood's good. Now, there's 2 reasons why we want to get to this roof. Not only is it a beautiful building, it also has tremendous potential for us. We see this someday as potentially a dorm for 50 students, or potentially we're also considering building worker areas in here, worker suites, space. We're hoping very much someday that we'll have places for workers to come stay. And this structure would be perfect, either as a dorm or as a volunteer support. But the first thing we've got to get done is we've got to get this roof covered. The very cheapest we think we could do this with a lot of volunteer help would be 50,000. Probably using some of the local roofing companies, it'd be closer to 100,000. It's a major project, but an important one for sure. Perhaps I should mention this too. I know a couple of these projects are a little bit on the larger side. If you are interested in any of these projects, but the price tag was a little too high, we'd be very, very thankful for just a portion of it too. Or we could even use your gift as a matching gift and attempt to raise some funds. We've had pretty good success with talking to folks. People have been very helpful to us. Probably the largest project that's coming at us in the next few years is to buy the second half of the land, the grounds. We were able to buy about 12 acres originally, and the owner had another 12 that we wanted to buy, but we just couldn't afford it. And so we kind of put it on long-term hold. It's a beautiful piece of land. It has 3 more buildings on it. And the beauty of that is in France, you don't need a building permit when the building exists. You can transform it into something like, for us, it would be staff housing or additional student housing. So a lot of potential down the road. Our program's been growing really well. We have more than 20 applications for 2025, 13 months from now. And so we've got a lot of students coming to us. We're trying to figure out if God wants us to grow or not. But eventually, the second half of the land would be the smart move. Now, we think it's going to be about 100,000. It's probably our biggest project on the books, still coming. The mayor came by. The local folks in France would love us to buy the property because, of course, you want to keep the grounds together. So many times Château lose their, they get pieced out, and then they're on this really small piece of property, and it's very sad for history. And so from the town's perspective, they'd love to see it together, I think. Our neighbors would love to see it. He did a cost comparison, said, land in this area would be worth about 40,000. But we feel pretty good about it at 100 because it's really quite a beautiful property with huge 200-year-old trees and 12 acres. So that's kind of a future move for us. That's a big project. Doesn't have to be this one, but that's one we're looking at some point. Thanks so much for thinking of us. We don't know where God's going to take this thing. It's been an incredible journey so far, and we're excited about the future. And really thankful for folks like yourselves helping us out. Anything would be appreciated. Guys, thanks for coming with us. Again, a little bit of hymns at the end for your listening pleasure, and partly just to give me the excuse to play the piano. It's been so awesome having a piano in the Château. I haven't played for years and years and years, so it's been fun to get back at it. Okay, we'll see you next week.